I'd like to talk about something that hits home to a lot of people, whether they be IV drug users, or, homosexuals with active club life, people who have a lot of transfusions, blood transfusions. Um, topic is AIDS and HIV and how to deal with it. And we're finding out now that looking back, that we had a prescription for death back in the 80s and the early 90s, that it was the drugs that were killing people, not AIDS. Now, with the AIDS epidemic, we're at a crossroads, um, and we're at a crossroads that nobody wants to talk about, and that is, um, should we rethink the whole virus hypothesis? Or that's the most extreme one. Another one is, should medication be done regularly? Because as I know people, I'm sure you know people who don't want to take it until they start to turn sick, and some people think this is very destructive. I, on the other hand, am for this. It's not take the the some of the harsher elements of the drugs until until you actually start seeing a lot of the symptoms, because it can remain dormant, and in its dormant state, it's not going to do anything. Again, this might be one of my most controversial videos. I don't know. It seems that things I think are going to be most controversial aren't, and then when I'm just talking about my daily life, people want to cut into that. But a movie that they removed off of YouTube called House of Numbers was a great movie, um, and it really surprised me. Um, 10 reasons why HIV is not the cause of AIDS. That is, I think that's still up. That's more confrontational. It's not as diverse um, as House of Numbers, and it was made, I believe, in the 90s. So people might think it's outdated, and there are some things in there that you kind of, I watched it skeptically, which I think you should be really skeptical on it. And I was like, oh yeah, that's total bullshit. But I'm like, but they make some good points, so there's some truth in that. And then so I watched House of Numbers, and now since House of Numbers is gone, I found there's a video up called The Other Side of AIDS, and I think from the parts of it that I've seen, it seems to be a good one. And I don't mean the conclusions. I mean just the openness in talking about these things, because they need to be talked about. People need to educate yourself on this, because it's an epidemic right now. And people say it's not an epidemic. It's not an epidemic because but let's not kid ourselves. It's once you've labeled somebody AIDS, they have AIDS, even if they don't have HIV. And I realize that some people that might be shocked when you can get AIDS without HIV. But yeah, there are cases. The fact that we have this definition out there, and we have these people who are, we have stamped on them sick or pestilence or something like this. I mean, that's growing. I mean, what if you took an AIDS test and you came up positive? But nobody in my family has AIDS, and I've never been sexually active. Still could be. I would encourage people, if they can, to watch House of Numbers, whether they have to buy it or whatever. The Other Side of AIDS is good. 10 Reasons might be too confrontational, because it's mainly about Peter Duesberg and virologists. You have to kind of have some background in it before you watch it. But I think this is a subject that must get talked about. And I don't think labeling people AIDS denialists. I mean, it smacks of something like Holocaust denial. It's the idea that you're okay now. You have this dogma and it can't be challenged, and anybody who challenges it, evil. I mean, you consider them conspiracy theorists, but we need to look at all sides of this. It's very important, as people's lives are at risk. And while we still have the Bangui criteria, in certain countries in the world where they just go through a list. Oh, if you lost weight, you have AIDS, and there's no check of the blood or anything. And a lot of these places, these poor places, instead of treating the malaria or the cholera, they'll treat it as AIDS. The people won't get the treatment they need and they'll die. And they'll probably die faster because you're pouring poison into their body. And we can't kid ourselves. The Bangui criteria is still being used. I would just want to urge people to educate themselves on what AIDS is, what HIV is, and to actually kind of wake up to some of the startling facts about it. So I don't know. I'm trying to watch what I say here because I just want people to go research. I don't really necessarily want to give my opinion. So I think this is all I can say for this. But I will be doing more on the Myth or Mysteries, and I will be answering your questions as they come. Thank you.